New life for the newest Pelican, DeMarcus Cousins, who was introduced with Omri Caspi in New Orleans on Wednesday with a new jersey number, switching from 15 with the Kings to 0 for the Pelicans, who are now one of the most intriguing teams to watch down the stretch. Hello again, basketball fans, and welcome to Game Time. Rick Camel with national champion and 11-year NBA vet Greg Anthony. We are here with the stories on trade deadline eve, and GA, the popcorn is already popping in one of the busiest weeks of the NBA year.
Yeah, and it's already starting to get a little more exciting, especially after the Cousins deal, Magic coming back to L.A. I'm just waiting to see what else is going to happen.
Lots of fun stuff to talk about. We'll talk about the Paul George of it all later on in this show, but DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, and the Pelicans took the court today for their first practice together since Sunday's trade as they prepare for Thursday's home game against the Rockets at 8 Eastern on League Pass. The Pelicans are 11th in the West, but just 2.5 games behind 8th place Denver. Here's DMC and AD from Wednesday.
It's been an emotional roller coaster. Everything happened so quickly. Very unexpected, but I'm a firm believer in that everything happens for a reason. I'm excited for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. I plan on embracing my teammates, this team, this organization, this city. This is home for me now, and I'm extremely excited, so I'm ready to get to work.
It's been a crazy weekend. Once I found out we got him, I was just up all night just thinking about, how far we can go, what we can do on the court together. And I ended up texting him like at 3 in the morning. It's like, well, I'm excited, and he responded. I was like, oh, he up. So we just texting back and forth about the team. But we're both excited, for the rest of the season, and then next year and, whatever happens after that. But, we just want to go out there and win. We want to go out there and win, and I'm glad he's here.
For the people that here that don't know you as well, just how competitive are you? How much does that go into everything that you do?
About 17 technicals worth.
That is one of the quotes of the year authored up by Boogie Cousins, and this tweet sent out by Anthony Davis. Welcome my big brother at Boogie Cousins to NOLA, #Fire and Ice. Yes, that is their moniker. And now we welcome Jim Eichenhofer from Pelicans.com. And Jim, what a crazy few days it has been in New Orleans. Just talk about it, from All-Star to the trade to D.C. being introduced. How crazy has this whirlwind been for New Orleans?
It's been wild. It was almost kind of surreal how quickly everything came together. We went into Sunday, the All-Star game here in New Orleans, which was great. And then Anthony Davis wins MVP. At the beginning of that day, I didn't even really know that it was realistic that they could pull off a trade to get somebody like DeMarcus Cousins. And then while we're doing post-game and, it had just been announced that Anthony Davis had the MVP, we find out that they had acquired DeMarcus Cousins. So it was a pretty crazy couple hours there Sunday night. It was kind of one of those things when you left the arena really late, maybe 1 a.m., you're kind of shaking your head like, man, did that just really happen? So it's been great, interesting around here, and it's been exciting. It seems like everybody around the league, if you turn on anything on TV, has been talking about this trade for the last 3 days. So it's been real cool to be at the forefront of discussion pretty much in the sports world, it seems like.
Now, Jim, you were at practice on Wednesday, the first practice with DC and AD and the Pelicans. Do you have any observations for us?
Well, the one thing that Alvin Gentry talked about and AD did a little bit as well is that it seemed like both players were kind of gingerly, going through everything with each other, trying to be really unselfish, trying to accommodate each other and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of natural when you have a situation like this where in the middle of the season you add somebody a piece that big as DeMarcus is. So, they're probably just kind of going out of each other's way to make sure the other guy's getting the ball. And AD said something to the effect that he only took 3 shots the entire practice. So I think that's one thing that they're going to just work through, and you'll see that beginning tomorrow night in the first game they play of the second half against Houston.
Now, Jim, obviously Cousins and Davis are both a part of that Kentucky brotherhood, but what do you know about how close they are personally?
It seems like they have had a really good relationship throughout their careers. It seems like Cousins has been kind of I think he said a big brother to AD. They've played some, I think, pickup in Lexington over the years during the summers. I know a lot of guys from there. They have a ton of guys now in the NBA that have been very successful, have gone back and done that. But also when they've played each other, they've always had conversations and stuff like that. And I think one of the funniest things that came out today during one of the press conferences was DeMarcus was saying that they were trying to recruit each other. You know, Boogie was saying to AD, you should come to Sacramento, and AD was saying to him, you should come to New Orleans. And AD actually said today, he's like, I was never going to come to Sacramento, so I was either going to win that battle or I guess it was going to be a draw. So, but they've definitely been, they have a lot of respect for each other, and I think they both just recognize how great the other player was, and they've gone head-to-head so much, obviously, with them both being in the Western Conference over the entirety of Anthony Davis's career.
So, Jim, one more for you. Are they already chanting beat the Dubs down in New Orleans? Because if the Pelicans can get to 8, it looks like the Warriors are virtually locked in at 1. Looks like it would be tough, even whoever gets that 8 seed, to catch OKC. Is the Pelican fan base kind of already looking ahead to a 1-8 Warriors and Pelicans?
I think if they're chanting beat the Dubs, I would be encouraged by that, but I would also say we might want to slow down a little bit on that. You're putting the cart before the horse a little bit here. But I think whether it's way too early to say, like, okay, if you play Golden State, you know, what are your chances of giving them a good series or, God forbid, beating them? But I think right now, I think there's a lot of people that would love to see that happen, regardless of what the final outcome is. I know, you know, people would say Golden State's one of the historically great teams, what they've done the last couple of years, so people wouldn't give New Orleans much of a shot to win the series, which is totally understandable. But regardless of that, I think it would be so compelling and so much fun, I think, for basketball fans to watch that series happen. But it's going to take a good stretch of the last 25 games for New Orleans to even get in the playoffs. So I think it's a little too early to start talking about a Pelicans-Warriors series as much as I would like to see that.
Yeah, good point. Denver and Portland's like, hey, wait a second. We're in this thing, too. Jim, we really appreciate the time. Congrats on the busyness. I mean, this is why we are in this business, is stuff to happen like this. And we appreciate your time. Great stuff, and we'll talk to you down the line.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Yeah, you said it. It really does remind you of how good you have it to have a job like this, just to see all the excitement and just to see how excited the city is about the team the last few days.
All right, so obviously some great intel there from Jim Eichenhofer. And GA, talk to me about on-court chemistry between DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. How is it going to work?
I think it'll be fine, in part because they do play different positions, but more importantly, they're both high IQ players and both really good passers, particularly DeMarcus. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good a passer of the basketball he is. You're going to see those guys play a lot of pick and roll action, a lot of two-man game, I think, a lot of high-low action. The question is going to be that supporting cast. That really is. Drew Holiday, I think, is going to be terrific and a good fit for those guys. But listen, you're talking about they have arguably the best center and power forward in the game on the same team. And I think that Drew is going to be important for them because, you know, he's a guy that can score, but he's a willing passer. You know, he can defend multiple positions. And so as good as those two are, that supporting cast, I think, ultimately is going to determine whether or not they make it to the postseason. They got a little bit of ground to make up. I think it's an exciting time for them. I think they want to be somewhat patient, but let's be real. They don't have a ton of time to get it together if they want to make that push for the postseason.
And you mentioned how great they are, maybe the best 4 or 5 combo in the NBA. There have been 4 teammates that have gone 20-10 in the same year on the same team since the merger in 1976, and obviously Cousins and AD are certifiable 20-10 guys, so that is a big, big stat. Now, talk to me about Alvin Gentry, and we all like his way and his manner with us, with the fans, obviously with players. How does he make this work?
I think that part won't be hard because, you know, watching a lot of film of both, they do run similar stuff. You know, so sets, you know, obviously the terminology will be a little bit different for them. So they're going to have to work that aspect out. But they'll keep things simple. And again, DeMarcus is the kind of player, he's an offense unto himself because you can run your offense through him. He's going to command a double team. As I said, he can pass the basketball. So all those things are going to benefit them. And let's face it, this is a team that offensively has struggled mightily. To get a guy with his impact, he's going to make everybody else's job easier and make everybody else better out on the floor. And I think the fact that he's playing with another great player, I think you'll see him make fewer negative plays. And people will get on great players sometimes when you're on a team that's not as loaded because you do have to do more. So you're going to tend to turn it over a few more times. You're going to have to take a few bad shots, and I think they're going to be fine.
All right, you're 5 seconds left. You're down 1. You're Alvin Gentry. You're in a timeout with your team. Who are you drawing that last play up for, Davis or Cousins?
I would try to get it to Cousins on the block, first and foremost, because I think that's the higher percentage shot, and he is a guy that I don't think is guardable one-on-one on the low block.
Right now, are you ready to say that the Pelicans will get the 8th seed in the West?
I'm not, but I hope they do because I think it'd be great for the game to see those two young studs in the postseason playing against the Warriors.
It'd be incredible.
That would be
if they don't get it, would you think Denver might be able to hang on to that?
I think Denver's going to have a chance. Denver, if healthy, Denver's got issues with health moving down the stretch. But if healthy, Denver's a really good basketball team at the lower part of that Western Conference.
All right, so we want you to check out NBA.com and our dear friend David Aldridge, the Hall of Famer that he is. He's got 56 quick thoughts on DeMarcus Cousins being traded from Sacramento to New Orleans. So definitely some great info there for you and some great observations. And Sunday on NBA TV, we have a triple header. That's right, a triple header beginning at 3:30 Eastern. The Suns run with the Bucks. Then at 7 o'clock, it is Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, and the Pelicans rumbling with Russell Westbrook and the Thunder from OKC. That's followed by the Hornets and Clippers at 9:30. Coverage begins at 3 with the Auto Trader pregame. We got you Sunday all day long on NBA TV.